Do you want to find a boyfriend or a hair model? While shampooing Gi BBM's hair, Muyol continued to tease her. Have you never been in a relationship? Gi BBM remained silent, not responding to Muyol's question when he asked her during school. She wasn't involved in any romance, so why were her academic grades also poor? Gi BBM, feeling embarrassed, quickly used the excuse that the water was too hot to change the subject. On the way home, Su-rae and the guy were chatting happily. Su-rae even boldly declared that she would be in charge of his hair from now on. Right then, as she was helping the guy adjust his hair, which had been messed up by the wind, her younger sister caught her in the act. To diffuse the awkward atmosphere, Su-rae quickly said goodbye to the guy. Her younger sister pressed her, asking if he was her boyfriend, and saying that he was quite handsome.
Embarrassed, Su-rae told her sister that she needed to get her eyes checked. As soon as they entered the house, her younger sister kept asking for information about the guy. Seeing that her sister was too interested in him, Su-rae quickly said that he was just ordinary. Her sister still wouldn't give up, telling her older sister to give her his contact information so she could reach out to him herself. Su-rae looked at herself in the mirror, and a feeling of self-doubt surged in her heart.
If only she could lose weight, she would definitely be much more beautiful than she was now. But if only was just if only, she couldn't change the truth, she was an overweight girl. The next day, the guy asked Su-rae out for a meal. Before they ate, Su-rae even deliberately posted something on social media. However, what one person says casually, another hears with significance.
Some girls at the table next to them suddenly said something like, "Not a match," leading her to assume they were talking about her and the guy. Su-rae immediately ran to the bathroom, berating herself for not being a bit prettier or a bit thinner. If that were the case, she and this guy wouldn't be seen as incompatible. Just as she returned from the bathroom, she saw her younger sister sitting next to the guy. Seeing her sister and the guy chatting happily, Su-rae felt a sense of disappointment rising within her.
She was the luckiest hair salon director I've ever seen. She only wanted to open her own hair salon, and then a wonderful opportunity fell from the sky. It turned out that 6 months ago, the director was just a hairstylist in a small salon. When the weather was stormy and everyone was getting ready to close up and go home, a special customer unexpectedly visited the salon. Seeing the old woman with her intimidating appearance, everyone immediately chose to avoid her. Before she could even catch her breath, the old woman stopped her and asked her to cut her hair. She reluctantly led the old woman to the hairstyling area. When she saw the old woman's filthy hair, she still tried to suppress her disgust and asked the old woman what kind of hairstyle she wanted. The old woman requested a luxurious and glamorous hairstyle. This old woman's hair was not just ordinarily dirty, it required 4 bottles of shampoo, not to mention that she had to scrub vigorously.
Even after washing her hair 7 times, she still couldn't brush it smooth. With no other option, she had to cut it all off. This old woman was truly hard to please. To cut her a luxurious and glamorous style, it took her 4 hours just to barely satisfy her. When it came time to pay, the old woman flicked what she claimed was money into her hand. She thought the old woman was crazy, but when she opened her hand, there was nothing there. She quickly ran after her,
but the old woman had long since disappeared. After returning to the salon, she opened the paper the old woman had given her. Unexpectedly, it was a lottery ticket, and what's more, it had won a grand prize of 78 million won. Just like that, she nurtured her dream of opening her own hair salon and found a place to open it. But her own abilities alone were not enough. She needed others to collaborate with her. The first person she had in mind, known to everyone as the Master of the Scissors, was Kwang-soo. The second collaborator was Zen, the chrysalis color wizard of the hairdressing world, who was said to possess both allure and wildness. Just like that, the framework for the hair salon was essentially established. The 3 of them had also planned out the layout and decoration of the shop. You could say everything was ready, just waiting for the next favorable wind. All that remained was the hiring of hair assistants. This was an interview session filled with subtle undercurrents of conflict,
with the interviewers themselves being the ones in conflict. This girl was not only beautiful, but she also had a wealth of work experience. The manager and Zen were both very pleased, but Kwang-soo, after making a semicircular motion, changed it into an M symbol, outright rejecting this girl. This was because he and Zen were sworn enemies in the hairdressing profession. When Zen saw that Kwang Soo was always going against her, she didn't hold back either. From that moment on,
The battle between Kwang Soo and Zen officially began. Regardless of whether you agree, I don't agree. What can you do to me? This put the job applicants at a disadvantage, because the rule beforehand was that everyone had to agree before someone could be hired. These two difficult people kept bickering back and forth, arguing for over 300 feet. The manager really had no other choice. If she let them keep bickering like that, when would they ever be able to hire an employee? Therefore, the manager decided to switch to a majority vote system. The next applicant made everyone jump. It was obvious that this photo had been edited using a filter. Even though Zen saw that Kwang Soo had drawn an X through the application, if she agreed with him, she would feel annoyed. If she had a different opinion than him, she would find it very bothersome. Kwang Soo seemed to have seen through Zen's thoughts, hoping that she would consider the overall benefit of the hair salon. Because each employee represents the image of the salon, just like a dermatologist with rough skin, or a clothing salesperson who always wears sweatpants. How would they run a successful business? In reality, he didn't have any issue with the overweight girl standing in front of him. It was that he just couldn't accept her strange and childish style of dress. Sudge, being optimistic, also took the initiative to talk about the reason for her previous firing. Because she had made customers uncomfortable, and was constantly criticized for being overweight. At this point, Soo Rai's interview results were one yes and one no. The manager hesitated, unable to make a decision, her pen hovering over the page. Logically, she should have directly rejected her. But when she saw Soo Rai with tears welling up in her eyes, she, as if possessed by a mischievous spirit, directly approved Soo Rai's interview. Soo Rai happily left the salon. At this point, only the last applicant remained.
looking at the sky, it was already dark, and everyone guessed that she probably wasn't going to show up. Kwang Soo was already preparing to announce further hiring the next day. Right at that moment, a ghost-like girl knocked on the door and stepped inside. The manager asked if she was here for the interview. She didn't answer, but just nodded blankly. The manager told her to introduce herself, but she stammered, and finally could only say, "Gi BBM."
The others looked surprised at the dazed girl in front of them and asked if she had anything else to say. She stammered that she was a fan of Kwang Soo and really wanted to learn from Master Kwang Soo, which was why she came. Then, she also took out a practice mannequin head for Kwang Soo to sign. Kwang Soo felt that since she was his fan, he definitely had to approve her. The manager thought she was absolutely terrible. She wouldn't even dare to make eye contact when speaking, was incredibly timid,
and had a gloomy personality. If they didn't reject her, who would they? But unexpectedly, Zen directly offered her a chance. It turned out that from the very beginning of the interview, Zen had noticed this shy girl. Perhaps it was fate. Faced with the girl who had run away twice, Zen developed an indescribable fascination. Just as the hair salon was preparing for its soft opening, the conflict between Zen and Kwang Soo escalated once again.
The shop next door gifted the manager a potted plant for the opening. At that moment, a man rushed from behind and picked up the shop owner. Seeing this, Zen immediately spun around and delivered a kick that sent the man sprawling to the ground. During that graceful landing, she also earned the admiration of everyone there. What was unexpected was that the man was the husband of the flower shop owner. Zen was flustered and quickly apologized. Afterwards, everyone criticized Zen for using excessive force. But the man didn't look like a good guy at all. Kwang Soo immediately called the police, which enraged Zen. The hair salon officially opened. Although some walk-in customers visited, the business on the first day wasn't as good as expected. This caused the manager great anxiety. As soon as she got home, she contacted every customer she could. Despite calling until her voice was hoarse, only a few customers came by.